Have you ever had to deal with death, heartbreak, job loss, illness, or loss of your old home? You might feel unstable because life keeps taking things away. However, loss, change, and impermanence are fundamental characteristics of reality. They are not mistakes. Hello, I'm Trenzel, and I'm here for your self-growth, and today I'll be giving you several of my realizations I use to grow through loss and change. Stick around for my last tip, whereas I can kickstart your journey toward positive change. Number 1, there is no such thing as a situation or circumstance that never changes. We make the mistake oftentimes of getting attached to our current situation and our present circumstances that exist right now, thinking that they'll never change. However, that's a mistake. Very common mistake too. We get too attached to our present day circumstances when those circumstances are transient. They will change. It's pretty much inevitable. We get attached basically to situations that won't last a lifetime, let alone forever. Number 2, change is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. And there are tons of examples of this. However, I think the most pertinent example is of people. Ask yourself the question, of the number of people that you've met in your life, how many are still in your life to this day? Probably not many. This is because relationships by their nature are transient. But this does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. It can teach you to appreciate people while they're in your life and in the way they exist within your life. This appreciation can lead to numerous realizations. Since you know that loss and change is inevitable, you know that where you are now won't last. So you should appreciate your current circumstances. Appreciate, for example, that you can eat junk food and sweets, as an example, because you might not always be able to. You can look at your life in terms of chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3, so on. You might have your first chapter be in high school, and your second chapter be in college, and your third chapter be in your job, and then maybe your next job is your next chapter, and the final chapter after that is retirement. Each chapter, each time you turn the page, you also turn the page on the people that you met in that chapter. So now you have a whole other set of people, a whole other set of individuals. This lets you know that your relationships with people oftentimes are transient. They don't last between chapters. Some may, but most don't. When you graduate from high school, you won't talk to your high school friends that you had in high school and college. Once you graduate college and go into a job, you won't have your college friends anymore, usually. You go on to the next job, all your coworkers from the first job is gone, and once you retire, you're done with all your coworkers. Each time you turn the page, your situation and circumstances change. This leads me to my point that you ought to enjoy your situations and circumstances that you're in because there is no guarantee that they will repeat. For me personally, I remember my trip to Universal Orlando. I wanted to do that trip for a very long time, but there was no time to do it. There was no specific moment to do it. There was no me pointing to this moment and say, yes, that's the right moment. That's when I should do it. This is when I should pull the trigger. And that caused me to lollygag all the way into my late 20s. And I said to myself, you know what? It's about time that I actually did something about this and took that trip. And so I was about 30 years old, I think. 30 or 29. And at that time, I had the summers off for the most part. And this still happens because I work seasonally. So the summers are light, and I had some money, and I had the relationship. That was my situation and circumstance at that time. I had all three. And I thought to myself, who knows when I'm going to have all three in the future? This situation that I'm in, this circumstance that I'm in, there's no guarantee that it's going to repeat. I might one day get a full-time job, and now I have less time. I might get a very demanding job. I have even less time. I might not get the vacation time that I need. I have even less time. There's no guarantee that I'm going to have this boyfriend or this relationship or whatever the case may be for next year or the year after that. There's no guarantee of that. See what I'm saying? So since there's no guarantee of it, better take advantage of it while it's still here. There's no guarantee that I'll have the money. There's no guarantee that I'll have the time. I might have the money now, but who knows if I'm going to have the money next year. Something catastrophic could happen next year. These are the uncertainties that we work with life. Number 3, the reason why change often feels bad is because of comfort. And comfort is the enemy of change. Realizing this allows you to realize that anything that causes change, regardless of whether that change is good or bad, can completely place you off center, off balance. But the thing is, in order to grow or do anything major, you have to be placed off center and off balance. You can't grow by staying in your comfort zone. It's just not going to happen. In order to accomplish anything major in life, you have to get out of your comfort zone. So the irony is, if you resist change, you resist the very thing that you need to have in order to accomplish major goals. Ultimately, you grow used to the status quo, and you have to readjust to the changes that are caused in life, the changes that the universe forces upon you, the changes that sometimes you force on yourself. Look forward to me talking about this more in part 6, tip 6, later on in the video. But to summarize, change and comfort are always in direct competition with each other. Change can lead to a better tomorrow, but stagnation is what happens when you listen to the little voice inside your head. Little voice inside your head. And I know you ain't talking about stagnant. The only thing stagnant around here is the side of your hairline. Don't listen to this. He just mad because his dreads look like a Furby. Listen to me. I'm the star of the show. He a bust down ass Medusa. See, what you want to do is you want to go on your phone and dial 187-gram because you scrolled on the gram for like the past 3 hours. You know what I know it's called Instagram? Because you scrolled on there for an instant and you don't get a gram of sleep. I'm the little voice inside your head. Do what I tell you to do. Watch some TV, Netflix, and chill. Stay in your comfort zone. Don't be triggering me. Drink your Kool-Aid and avoid your problems like normal people. Fear of failure? Are you scared? You need a big fat distraction. Try Facebook. I hear it's lovely at around 1 a.m. Ain't nothing wrong. You just got off work. You want to chill and be comfortable. That's right. Number 4. Since change is inevitable, everything is temporary. Therefore, there is no need to hold on to your current life's situations and circumstances, because they will change. To prove this, simply ask yourself, how similar is your situation and circumstance to the way it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago? How similar is your life now to the way it used to be? The more you think on this, the more you realize the fleeting nature of reality. If this content is helping you, please remember to like the video. And also, subscribe. I need my subscribers, okay? Help. Help. Also, if you're dealing with major life changes, unexpected loss, or trying to get out of your comfort zone, go ahead and comment down below. I'm struggling with some of these things too, especially growth to get out of my comfort zone. Never easy. Number 5, change will be thrust upon you regardless of whether you want it to be or not. But you are not powerless against this. My next 3 tips are going to help you take charge. They're about you taking back charge, taking back control, and it's about your empowerment. Look forward to them. Number 6, you can bring positive change to your life by stepping out of your comfort zone. This is called active change. Instead of waiting passively for a change to happen to you, you take control of that change actively. You aim it in a direction conducive to your dreams and your goals, in a direction suitable to you. This is why dreams are so very important, because human beings have a tendency to comfort themselves to death. They will put themselves in their comfort zone. They will maximize their comfort as much as possible, minimize their discomfort as much as possible, and they'll do that for the rest of their lives, and they'll comfort themselves to death. Humans are very good at that. And then they'll wake up one day having not accomplished anything of note. And they'll regret it. If you find yourself going through the motions one day with nothing of particular note happening, that's when you've maximized your comfort. When you're completely bored and there's nothing new happening, nothing interesting happening. Well, If variety is the spice of life, change is its seasoning. What? I said that word? Look at that. If variety is the spice of life, change is its seasoning. Now, I don't know what the hell that means, but it sounded nice, so I have to say that. Number 7. The loss of the old makes room for the new. So you shouldn't fear loss, because loss serves a purpose. It makes room for new situations and circumstances to show up in your life. You can also use me as an example of this. When I first got my CDL, I initially went to a trucking job, but I didn't end up getting that job. I ended up losing it. And I was quite devastated losing that job. But if I hadn't have lost that job, my life would have taken a very different turn. I might not have had any time for this YouTube at all. I wouldn't have found a job whereas I'm seasonal and even had the time for YouTube. I certainly wouldn't have gotten to the relationship I got into. I end up having a life more suitable to me by losing the very thing that I thought that I should have held on to. So I ended up kind of grateful for losing it. Still not happy about it, but my life took the turn it needed to take when I lost something. Another example of this is my first job. My first job, I worked at a library as a library page. And I worked this job. It was a very simple job. It didn't pay all that much. And I worked this job for about 6 months before I was let go for some petty nonsense. It was petty. Petty! And yes, they kind of did do me dirty. But if I hadn't got let go from that job, I would have never began my Amazon business. I began selling product on Amazon. And if I would have never did that, I would have never got comfortable with the idea of making money online. You know, especially back then, and even now, there's a certain level of mysticism about making money online. Like, it's not really legit. It's not legitimate money. It's not the traditional path. So there's a slight stigma to it. Who knows if I would have even started a YouTube channel at all if I would have never made any sort of money on Amazon. But I did when I was much younger. And so it made me comfortable with the concept of, yeah, you can actually make a living off of doing online stuff. Which gave me the courage to do this. That's kind of cool. But I'm scared. I'm scared. Even you have to change. But in order to change the old, you have to die in order for the new you to live. You cannot change being the same version of yourself that you've always been. And, you know, this is going to happen regardless of whether you want it to or not. The only question is whether or not you're going to do it on purpose for yourself or if it's going to be forced on you. But, you know, if it's forced on you, that creates a bit of a problem because humans are multifaceted. They can grow, but that doesn't mean that they automatically grow in the right direction. Ultimately, there is growth, there is regression, and there is stagnation. You can be in any one of these 3 states for a number of characteristics and portions of your life. You might be growing in terms of relationships, but stagnating in terms of money. And you might be regressing in terms of how much love you're willing to give. You might be regressing in terms of how good you are to your family. Humans are dynamic like that, very dynamic creatures. A great example of this is if someone breaks up with you. If you get broken up with, you can very easily grow from that, learn from that, and craft a reality where you become a better suited partner for the next person, or even just a better person in general. There's a lot of lessons you can learn from a relationship, even a failed one. Matter of fact, you can learn a lot more, especially from a failed relationship. But that doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to learn a positive lesson from it. You can also regress. How many people do you know become more distrustful, more to themselves, more closed off due to a failed relationship? They take on a lot of toxicity. They take on trauma. And when you hold on to trauma without healing it, without letting it go, without even expressing it sometimes, this is growth in the wrong direction. This is regression. And it's an example of how a person might not always change in the correct direction. And number 8. See that? Ooh, look at that. I challenge you within the next 24 hours to take one step outside of your comfort zone. Regardless of if that step outside of your comfort zone is big, small, it doesn't matter the amount of the step. Just take a step. Do something that makes you uncomfortable. And bonus points if you do it towards a goal. Practicing doing this over and over and over again is how you build your life in the right direction. So if you do this not just in the next 24 hours, but if you do this as something that repeats over and over and over again, as a habit, over and over and over again, each day you try to do a little bit something more that pushes you out of your comfort zone, that moves you toward where you want to be in your life, I can nearly guarantee you, with pretty high confidence, that you will end up in a much more positive space than you are currently. It's slow. It's not always fast. But slow change, the thing with slow change is, you look back on it and then you realize, wow, I've done a lot. You can only really fully appreciate the magnitude of change only far into the future. But the thing is, time will pass regardless of what you do. So you might as well do something positive. Because that's my realization. You could do something positive, you could do something negative, you could stay in your comfort zone, you can expand your comfort zone, you can get out of your comfort zone. But no matter what you choose to do, time is going to pass regardless. No matter what you do, you're one step closer to the grave, no matter what happens. So, my advice, take on my challenge. Move in the right direction. Take control of change for your own self instead of letting change happen to you. Too many people let change happen to them. And you'll be in a better position. So, I got an outro this time. But I don't know exactly what to do with the outro. So I'm just because the videos is supposed to be like the videos, okay? These are the videos, people. It's either that, or maybe one of them. I don't know what I'm going to do. I never did an outro. It's a video somewhere. I'm trying. So it's just uno or dos. I don't know why I said that. I don't know how to speak Spanish. Bye!